29M thought I found my wife 25F cheating on me with proof. After days, has the truth come out? Next step? So I posted this on Tifu a couple days ago and it blew up. I wasn't looking for that at all, as I just wanted advice on how to proceed. The trolls took over, however, because the post ended up getting removed after they found in my post history, which I didn't even know I had one, because this is a shared account with my twin brother. No one cared to believe me over there, but it is true. However, I am not gonna go off and post a picture with my brother and give away my identity. Not how this works. Regardless, this was my first post ever, as I am usually just a lurker of Reddit and enjoy it very much. However, I need someone to talk to about this, and I didn't want to turn to my family just yet, not knowing the severity of it. So I turned to Reddit. People were saying I am karma whoring, or whatever that even means. I honestly don't know enough about Reddit to know the relevance to that. Anyways, on to the story. I am simply just going to copy past it. So today, 1:11:15, I wake up like any normal Sunday around 11 in the morning and head to the bathroom to take a PSS. My wife is doing her hair because she had some nail decorating thing with my side of the family today, while I watched some football alone. Was excited. Well, as I am peeing, her phone goes off and it was sitting on the top of the toilet, so I see it as a snap. She picked the phone up real quick and dragged the status bar down, then right back up without looking at the snap, then hit the power button to turn the phone off. Android HTC One M8. Red flag 1. Reason being, she always just looks at the snaps around me because we know everyone we talk to. We don't hide anything from each other. So I thought. So she eventually leaves to go to the family thing, doing nails and all, whatever. I sit down on my computer to play some poker while I'm watching the games, and wouldn't you know it, an ad for Snapchat pops up on my web browser. It immediately makes me think of what happened this morning, which I had already forgotten about because I simply let things go very easily, and I probably would have this as well. However, done, I never snoop, ever. I am one who trusts you 100% until you do something to make me feel otherwise. However, I had a really bad pit in my stomach and felt this 100% was in jeopardy, and decided to log into her Snapchat. Password was fairly simple to figure out. So I am in. First thing I see is an unopened chat message from some person that I have never seen before. I open it up and, I want you very, very badly. So now, immediately I am like, WTF. Now keep in mind I am a very mild-tempered person and do not get mad very easily. However, I am about to flip it at this point. However, I get logged out. I guess she logged back in, and you can only be logged in on one phone at a time. I then logged back in and she said something that I didn't screenshot, saying that something logged her out and she didn't see what he said. He then said this. I must have missed something she said in between as well. You know, since it deletes everything you say after you close it. Had 2 snaps recently. Just asking how it was and I miss you. Now I am like, who the FCK? Later on I find out it is a co-worker that is also her boss, while her real boss isn't in the office. So now I am sitting here thinking, I want to hear something more convincing, so I simply respond as her saying, oh yay? What do you miss most? Hoping this would squash what I thought was happening in my head. Nope. This is what he said. About you? I miss your smile, and conversation in person. We can laugh about anything. And the time is amazing. I immediately just lose feeling in my body. I sit in my chair and basically just blank stare, thinking of my life in ruins. We were just talking about starting to try and have our first kid. We have been married for 3 years now. We have 2 houses, one we live in and one we rent. We make good money. We have time very frequently. She has shown no signs of dissatisfaction at home. Why would she do something like this? I honestly just didn't know what to do. So I went on to just say busted out of impulse. Well, I then just got out because I had seen enough. However, about 5 minutes later, I was curious to if he had said anything. Well, I logged back in because she logged me back out again. And his message was gone. Assuming she now knows that I know. Well, I reopen his text box and I see this, hence it says yesterday at the top. No clue how or why this came up. I do feel I can be completely honest with you whenever you ask me anything. Such a good thing we have. Great friendship and great time. What else could you ask for? I about wanted to cry, and in fact I did. She is away at a family function and I am sitting at home now for hours with nothing to do but ponder what I'm going to do when she gets home. I have a really close friend I feel I can talk to about anything and ended up doing just that. I showed her everything I saw and told her about it all. I then started thinking about all those times she stayed longer for happy hour and for work functions, etc. FML. Well, she finally gets home and I immediately say, "Can I see your phone?" She hands it to me like nothing is up and is like, "Hi to you too." I then go to her messages to see if maybe she was dumb enough to leave something in there. Oh look, a cleaned up inbox. She never deletes anything on her phone, ever. BTW, I did continue an actual conversation with him via Snapchat and basically you can tell he found out it wasn't her and started trying to cover his tracks because he is also married and has 2 kids and just bought a new house. He was saying haha and lol to everything at this point, acting like it was all a joke, which I will get to. So I then open up her Snapchat and pull up his text box and the chat I showed you with what she said is still there. She reads it and is like, "I don't know why that is there and why are you going through my phone? Is that why it kept logging me out of Snapchat?" I said, "Yes it is, can you explain this?" She then reads it again and says, "You can assume what you want," but I sent another one after that saying great time jokes because she forgot the word jokes. This was her excuse for the whole thing, is that this is something they joke about all the time at work and their whole department does it. I am like, okay, well if that is the case, then can you please explain these? I then show her the first 3 snaps shown above. She just kept reading them over and over without saying a word, as well as some that I didn't show of me continuing the conversation with him, which is irrelevant. But she didn't know what to say, so she just kept reading, I guess waiting for me to say something. To me she was just admitting guilt because she didn't know what to say immediately and was caught. The last thing I want is this. She swears up and down that she never has even thought of cheating on me and that this really was a joke. I have no physical proof, but what you see is pretty hard not to believe. Plus the kicker being it's on Snapchat, which is designed to erase everything you say or send once you close it. I don't really use the app too much, but I know what and how it works. We had it out for a good 3 hours and it was just an argument going in circles after the first half hour. She kept trying to bring up stupid crap to change the subject here and there, and I would derail her and put her back on subject and it would just become silent. She just didn't know what to say. She started saying, "You want me to delete him? You want me to get a new job?" Stuff along those lines, and honestly to me that is just admitting guilt even more. I seriously just don't know what to do and I am hating life right now. I am so full of adrenaline that there is no way I am sleeping tonight, so I guess I am calling out of work in the morning. I would have rather just never seen what I did in the bathroom, because if she really is telling the truth, I think it is past the point of where I can ever really believe her. It will always be in the back of my head while having time or just in general. Edit question for everyone. Do you think I should go to his wife and ask her how she feels about this? Would that be morally wrong of me? Also, I failed to mention that her mom works in the same department as her. Should I bring this up to her and see if she is telling the truth about them joking all the time about this sort of thing? Only thing is, could really risk another marriage and jobs if I take this route. Update here is the continuing conversation I had with him, trying to get more out of him, but obviously he picks up on it and starts changing his attitude and the way he says things. Keep in mind the first 3 things you read from him. I had asked again what he missed about me. This was his response. The conversations, coworkers can be so dumb. Confused why you are asking me the same stuff over. Everything cool? I then asked what you see below that, and this is his response. Now keep in mind, looking at when I took the screenshot, it is dated 4:55. He just said the time is amazing at 3:59. Sex WTF. Amanda, is this even you? I am confused. I didn't respond. Then he goes on his own to say this. You and I know this isn't a relationship like that. Maybe it was a snap FOPA, but time situations is one of my top 5 funny office things. Funny to think of co-workers in awkward situations. Then at this point I had to keep logging in to make sure she wasn't seeing any of this, but I knew he had already talked to her via text. Which, oh yay, She deleted, if you remember, the cleaned up inbox. However, this time, she just stopped logging in to kick me out, so I just kept the window open. This was the last of our conversation. Was basically him just saying he wouldn't want to ruin their friendship. Blah blah. So yay, you can see the change in demeanor and how he starts completely denying it all to cover his ass, knowing what's at stake. Edit update: if you mention that I should lawyer up, please explain why. I right now feel that even if she does admit to this, or I find out some other way, that our divorce would not be a sour one. As much as she would be a bad person for doing what she did, I truly feel in my heart that she wouldn't do anything to make matters worse. If there is a reason to lawyer up besides the fact that you think it will be a nasty divorce, then please let me know why that is. Thanks. Update 1/12/15 a.m. I have been trying to answer everyone's comments, and I am overwhelmed with the support, you guys. You really are keeping me rational right now, and I feel that is the right move. We had another conversation this morning, and the short version is, I don't believe her. She still denies that she is cheating on me, and that the texts were sent in responses to other texts that I didn't see. She also still claims that hers was supposed to say S-time jokes, but his was just him being funny about S-time. I am so tired, yet my body refuses to bat an eye. I am morally crushed. I told her if she went to work this morning, I would be gone when she gets back. She called out right after. Not sure how she thought she could even go to work today in the first place. I told her, what reason should I believe anything she is saying? She repeats back that there are no reasons. I just kept saying exactly. The part that is genuinely throwing me off is that she isn't giving up. She would just stand there instead of walking away like she has in the past when caught in a lie. She also is looking me right in the eyes when saying everything. It is so hard not to believe her, but I also don't want to believe she would be that good at lying straight to my face. I didn't think she had it in her. But with this evidence, I just can't get over it. After everything she said, I simply pulled up the photos and said, everything you said still doesn't change this. She just kept saying, I don't know what you want me to say or do. I just kept telling her to figure it out because I don't believe you. That is pretty much how the whole conversation went. FML. Update 1/12/15 p.m. As you know, she called out of work. Well, I went to get her phone to try and revive the deleted text messages and possibly find the pictures that were deleted from Snapchat via the phone's directories. Well, she handed over the phone, but when I left the room with it saying I am not going to send anything. She didn't say anything at first. Then about 30 seconds go by and she comes down the stairs saying I need my phone. I say, but I am not done with it. She said, well, I need it. I said, use the house phone. She said no. Took the phone and started to walk upstairs. I said, I want a divorce if you don't give me the phone. She said, duck you. Good game. Update 1/12/15 p.m. Well, everyone, this will be my final update of the day as I am packing up my stuff and headed to my mom's for a couple days. We just had it out for another 10 minutes about how can she expect me to believe anything she says if she won't even let me check her phone. She simply said, I guess you can't. About as close to full confession I will get, it seems. On a positive note, well, maybe negative note. I am so appreciative of all the advice and support from this community. It really has kept me strong and focused on the goal at hand, and I feel because of you I have went about this much better than I would have without you. Also, thanks for the gold. Broke my cherry. Could also get a front page out of this? So close, haha. Not that it matters. When I posted this I was simply looking for a couple people to share my pain and be with me all night, as I knew I wasn't going to sleep, which I am still wide awake. I'm going to talk to my mom and see if the lawyer she is using for her current divorce, the irony, is someone I would want to deal with. I will continue to be here for everyone sharing their stories as much as I'm glad you came to read mine. Look forward to talk to you all, and I especially appreciate all the PMs. A lot of them were very useful and full of amazing advice. Update 1/12/15 p.m. I went for a drive the last hour and a half, more so sitting in a parking lot trying to close my eyes and forget the world. Didn't work. This has been so overwhelming with all the support. Can't believe this blew up on this level to get to the front page. So many of us out there have went through something similar to what I am going through, and I feel for you. I do. This pain is something I wish on no one. Hopefully, if you are reading this and have been through something similar or are going through it now as well, I recommend reading as much of these comments as possible. They have been more than helpful to me since last night when posting this. Right now it looks like me and my wife are done, as she drew the last straw with not allowing me to be able to see her phone. It was something simple to maybe help me see why they were talking the way they were, but it looks like it would have ended up being more proof. Thanks again to everyone. I am going to try to nap now and will try to get on and post an update whenever I have one. Forever grateful, as you helped guide me in the right direction of probably the most important decision of my life. Update 1:13:15 1:37 a.m. She basically stayed in our room all day and just came down to talk. She openly told me everything that she knew. She said that they have been emotionally having a relationship for a couple months now. It all started at work when they just started mutually agreeing on things, and then a S-time joke was told by a co-worker which opened up them talking about S-time. They would compare their marriages and the problems they have, which obviously would bring them closer. The reason she wouldn't show me her phone is because there were text messages of them saying to each other that they want to have S-time. I really can believe everything she is saying. It is just the kicker that they both send those two snaps basically saying they have already had S-time. I really am so torn, because even if there wasn't a physical relationship there, the emotional level was there, and apparently she said if they weren't married, they would have already done it. She also tells me that she was ready to break it off knowing it was going too far. I find this very hard to believe, but she seemed to be telling the truth. Really don't know what else to say right now, but FML. Update 1:13:15 11:50 p.m. So here is where I stand. I send this message to the guy after getting his number from the phone bill. Before you start reading this, know that I am not in any way attempting to threaten you. I am simply attempting to come to terms inside my marriage. With that said, I hope you have some time to sit here and read this carefully. It could have a very big impact on your immediate future. I am writing to you looking for honesty. I am sure you now know that I know partially what was going on. She was being very suspicious the other morning when a snap came through on her phone while I was around before she left for her nail decorating party. She has never been like that, and it threw up a red flag. I have never thought to distrust her, and because of that, she very easily could have abused this vulnerable side of me. It was very random of me to log into her Snapchat, because honestly I wasn't expecting to find anything, hoping to just give myself some peace of mind. However, when I logged in, I see you were her most recent snap. So I swipe it to see what was said and found "I want you very, very badly." After that, she logged in because it kicked her out when I logged in. When I logged back in, you said that you were asking how it was and "I miss you." Now just these two alone are fairly suspicious, but I do remember her telling me that we would get along because we have a similar sense of humor. So I gave you a shot, and I am the one who responded to you asking what do you miss most? Scott, what you said next is a whole different ball game. About you? I miss your smile, and conversation in person. We can laugh about anything. And the S-time is amazing. Now at this point, I believe she realized something was going on, or you told her what was going on. Doesn't really matter. What does matter is that it led her to delete the snap message altogether, which in return somehow revived a snap that she sent you from the previous day. This is what it said. From her to you, I do feel like I can be completely honest with you whenever you ask me anything. Such a good thing we have. Great friendship and great S-time, what else could you ask for? Here is how I see this, Scott. All I am looking for here is honesty. If you are honest with me, this stays between us, and feel more than welcome to tell the mother of your kids whatever the hell you want, when you want. But I need to know the truth. However, if you want to sit here and deny the obvious, I will bring this to your wife, as I would hope she would do for me if she found out. I have no problem speaking with your boss either about the situation. I know Amanda is lying to me just by how she reacted when I showed her the evidence. I showed her the message she sent to you first. She tried to say it meant to say great S-time jokes, which would make no sense in any way you try to spin it. But then it didn't matter, because when I showed her everything you said, She was speechless. Keep in mind this was taking place on an app where everything is supposed to disappear after it is said. Let alone, no one else but you two were ever supposed to see it as well. This clearly has caught me off guard, and I have been up all day and night the last 2 days thinking about what to do, and this was my best solution to figure out the truth first before taking the next step in my decision on how to handle my marriage. Hopefully, you can respect me coming straight to you to get these answers from you right now, because if not, I will proceed in my own manner. This was his response. You are not attempting to threaten me? Is that a serious comment? That entire text is a threat. I do very much respect that you want to be a straight shooter and get to the bottom of what mine and Amanda's relationship is. Trust me, I do very much respect that. How you are presenting the situation to me, on the other hand, I don't agree with, but that's beside the point. You are allowed to do and act however you want. You are human and every human acts differently in different situations. I have developed a very deep emotion connection with Amanda, and we became very close over the last several months. As you are aware, she is good at listening and giving honest advice. She helped me through a very rough part of my marriage. We bonded to where we pretty much could talk to each other about anything open and free, and I never felt that before. Very liberating. Called her my lesbian best friend. I said that to help mentally remember we were both taken. It did make me smile a lot knowing she was like me in a lot of ways. She has a way to light up a moment, as I am sure you know. Truth be told, I always thought your wife was a very attractive woman, but wanted to keep our relationship on a superficial level to respect both marriages, and did for a few years. Then we became closer over the summer. Things became easier to talk about. Nothing was off limits. We were very open about a lot of topics, and the one that should have very much been off limits we thought was not sex. Not being my wife, I should have never felt it was okay to discuss. We did discuss a lot about time, random things, mostly talked about favorite positions, ways. Does size, width matter? What things make a girl guy feel good and orgasm, etc. Not proud to state it, just telling you the honest truth. It was very much an emotional high. I felt there was time, chemistry and tension. As wrong as it was, I will admit I enjoyed it. Was like the chase of the high. I have a semi-stagnant relationship at home, and that gives me no right to ever talk about topics we did discuss that if we met at a different time in life we could have seen us maybe giving a relationship a try. I honestly enjoyed the conversations very much. I distinctly remember Amanda telling me about a time you must have went to a Chinese restaurant and your mom puts in bed after the fortune cookie statement was, "You will get a promotion at work in bed." From that moment I made it an inside joke that the time is great if you're getting a promotion at work. I knew it wasn't right, but let it continue for a good while now, which should have stopped before it started. Honesty, if the situation had ever presented, I'm not 100% positive what I would have done. I believe with all my heart we would have done the right thing and walked away. I had an inappropriate work relationship with your wife, but if you are asking if we slept together, the answer is no. Hope you respect my honesty. I know Amanda loves you, and if you love her then I wish you the best. Truth, I never wanted to interfere with what you had. I always wanted and want her to be happy in her marriage. I take responsibility for what took place, and it should have never ever under any circumstances taken place. Sorry for the bad punctuation, but it was via text and I don't feel like going through it all. It's still readable. I then said this. Thank you for your honesty. I sincerely appreciate it. Can you please explain the snaps then? No matter how you read them, they make it sound like you have already had time. It just doesn't add up. That's the part of this driving me crazy. His response. The time is amazing part. That is because after the inside joke took off between the two of us we did text about more like a what if we were to have like that fortune cookie suggested. It would have to be amazing, wouldn't it, if I was so good you got a promotion. So from there our joke was the time must have been mind-blowingly amazing for her to get that promotion. So in text or snaps we sometimes would randomly at the end say the time was amazing, great, or whatever word to insert. Like the signing out of a conversation. Again, Tim, I know you don't really know me from a hole in the wall, but I am truly sorry and feel terrible beyond what you imagine. Time, that what if part wasn't really serious in the moment, if that is explained at all correctly. Was hypothetical, but we said what if we did have time. My next text. 2 more things. Not to hammer you. Again, I appreciate your honesty. First thing is Amanda told me that you guys have been to the point in telling one another that you would have time with one another if not married. Was that it? Or were there implicit details being discussed? And not in a joking manner. Like maybe her telling you what she wanted to do to you, etc., or you to her. You see what I'm saying? I am trying to gauge how deep this really was. Physical or not. The emotional connection was already there. The physical part is just a bonus to that. An emotional affair is almost worse than getting drunk and having a one-night stand. I hope you understand that. Also, the I want you very very badly snap I am assuming was legit? You two were to that point where time was the next step. What would have happened if I didn't notice her the other morning? His response: there was a time, maybe two max, where nothing was implicit. Vague and open-ended. No details per se. The snap I want you badly, to be completely honest, don't even remember snapping, but obviously it was sent. 100% out of character, and that was the first of its kind. I was drunk, not an excuse, it's a fact. I don't even remember my emotion when I wrote it, cause I don't remember writing it. So to be honest, don't think it would have led to a single thing. That was harmless. And FYI, Amanda never once wrote a snap ever to that effect to me, if it puts your mind more at ease. Me. The last thing I wanted to ask was, if you knew Amanda loves me and never wanted to interfere with what we had and want her to be happy in her marriage, then why would you do what you did? His response: to be honest, thought it was harmless, but of course it is the furthest thing from it. Selfish, really. For the record, I never one time, if Amanda asked or said something, did I ever make it sound like you were coming off poorly. I don't remember a single conversation of any topic, so please don't ask, but I would tell her what a man's perspective was and how that may help the two of you get to see eye to eye on whatever topic it was. Was a friend to her above all else. Doesn't mean anything I did was right, obviously, but I want you to know I wasn't trying to undercut your relationship in way. Again, I was selfish and it was wrong. I then ended with this: okay. Thank you. Now tell your wife. She deserves to know. I then messaged my wife on Facebook and basically had a long conversation about the in-depths of all this, as if I believed everything he said, because honestly, the way he said everything and from what I did already know of this guy, it sounds legit as much as I don't want to believe it. We basically started our counseling, it felt like, by discussing all of our issues and why she did what she did in the first place, blah blah blah. It didn't end on a good note, and here I am now. Update 1/14/15 p.m. Well, guys and gals, you were all right. She cheated on me. I brought up the idea of a lie detector test and even showed her when and where we can go to take it. She played it off for about 20 minutes while we continued to talk, and I kept asking her questions that didn't make sense with the conversation I had with her and with him last night. By talking to her right after the conversation with him, I was asking her the same questions I asked him and getting completely different responses because they didn't have time to talk. As I was sitting there, she finally broke down and the words "promise me you won't take this to work" came out of her mouth, and I knew my phone went off, and I used that as an excuse and said, "Hold that thought." Clicked through my phone real quick, turning on the voice recorder, and got it all on tape. FML, I flipped S. It clearly only a cracked bedroom door though, so I'm happy that was all the damage I did. I broke a lamp too, but who gives a FCK. I then made her get in the car with me and drove to his house, an hour and 15 minutes away, and I told his wife. She tried to beat up my wife and trick me into unlocking the door, but I was videoing the whole thing and told her not to do it, but she tried to anyways. Obviously I stopped it from happening. I sat there with her and the douchebag ducker for a half hour, making sure she knew the full truth and how he was going to tell her. Just as my soon-to-be ex-wife was telling me it was only emotional, he admitted to everything as he knew he couldn't lie. I showed her all the proof I showed everyone here, and she was just in utter shock, which is understanding. I recorded that whole tidbit too. I answered any questions she had, and when she just became silent for 10 minutes straight, I left her my number and told her to call me if she needed someone to talk to, and I left. She said, "Thank you for telling her," and I told her I felt it was the right thing to do and would only hope she would have done the same for me, and she said of course she would have. My ex-wife on the way up there and on the way back was answering all my questions, completely honest at this point as to when and where and such, as I was curious as it was happening right under my nose. Although as she was telling me these things, it did all make sense, and there were even time where I should have probably noticed but didn't think twice, because I trusted her. Anyways, I am just so ducked up in the head right now and am about to head over to my mom's to probably bawl my eyes out and talk to her about using the lawyer she is currently using for her divorce to get the separation papers going. I feel bad for my wife in a way because she is going to lose her job, and well, You get what you pay for. I guess I will keep you all updated on how this all goes, but as of right now, it's not good. Update 1/16/15 p.m. Well guys, here I am. I am in a different place than I was a couple days ago. I think I am in some sort of a withdrawal phase. I have never been without my wife for more than a period of 3 days when she went away on business. I almost actually tried to go to the movies with her tonight, I know. Last night I went over to the house and we had a really deep discussion for about 3 hours just about everything. Not the affair details but more so the questions that made us realize what was wrong with us and why it led to that and how to move forward if we want to. We knew it was going to take 3 steps minimum, and those are 1. To make sure this is even what we want. Did we want to try and make it work together? Are we willing to put forth 100% to trying to reconcile the marriage? After we answered yes to that. 2. Get rid of the guy. I said in order for this to even have a chance, he would have to be out of the picture. Now this was a tricky one and continues to be because they work for the same company, obviously being co-workers. Well, today, she talked to him and it really is up to her how it gets handled, but one of them has to go, and quite frankly I don't give a s at who it is. Has nothing to do with my side of working this out. I told her until that is done, we have nothing else to talk about. But 3. Was counseling and the actual trying of repairing and reconciling the marriage. So that is where I stand. I want nothing but to be with my wife. I love her and there is a reason I married her. She tried to hug me last night when I was leaving and I broke down yet again because I wasn't ready for her to touch me. Doesn't mean I don't want to be with her and around her. However, I just couldn't take that yet. I honestly have no clue how long it could be before I'm ready for her to even just touch me and make me feel like she means it. I even told myself if something like this ever happened I would have to refrain from killing the BTCH. However, now that I am in the situation, I can't even believe I am acting like this. It really is like the saying goes, you never know how you will actually react until you are put into the situation. And I have a couple holes to patch up and a bedroom door to replace to give you an idea. If anyone has specific questions, feel free to ask, but I don't want to make the wall of text any longer than it actually needs to be, so I am trying to just give the big details and the updates. Thank you for all your continued support, as this is really helping me think of all the angles. People can say I am making the wrong decision and that is fine. Maybe I am. But I will find out in my own time. I don't think just filing for a divorce right away is going to make my hurt go away any faster. I have the ability to file for adultery unless I sleep with her, and then I lose that case and would have to go through a full 1-year separation in my state. That isn't going to happen anytime soon. As stated above, I can't even stand her touch right now. So I will know well before that would ever happen again whether or not this is going to work. I might know in a couple weeks. I might know even sooner if she comes to me saying sorry, but we are gonna have to continue working together. I doubt that is going to happen, but you get the idea. Which reminds me, she actually has already started working on updating her resume to look for another job. I am not sure why I failed to mention that. She is trying to see if he would leave, but if he won't, then she said she will leave and would ask for me to just respect her while she finds a new job so she doesn't have to financially struggle. I agreed, as she claims to have set up the office so they never have to see each other unless they wanted to, which please just let me believe that is the case, because I truly believe it is, as she is making it clear she will do anything right now to make up for what she did. Obviously she never should have did it, but she did, and now we are here at a crossroads. TLDR woke up, peed, saw wife not check Snapchat like usual, found out she is cheating on me with proof. However, after the updates, I could salvage my marriage? Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1, I think you've read my story. I will just reiterate this. She is following the exact same pattern my girlfriend did. The only difference is I held back all my cards to the lover of hers so that he had no idea what I knew and what I didn't know. One part of my story I didn't mention before. After I caught them talking about time that had happened, and she told me it was just a joke they did, I kept harping on it. I told her the joke didn't even make sense. Why was it a joke? She tried to get out of it by saying they had discussed having time multiple times, so because of that it just became a joke they had. Sound familiar? I think it's only a matter of time before you find out something seriously did occur. I hope I am wrong, I have just seen this all before. After she admitted to discussing S-time, her next lie was, "Oh, we saw each other one day, I just forgot, but we only talked through car windows." Then it became okay, he was in my apartment, but he was just dropping off something I had left there. Then the rest is history. Brace yourself, friend, if you ever need to talk about it, let me know. I feel like you are following my footsteps 1 month behind. Redditor 2, posting from a throwaway because what I'm about to tell you doesn't reflect well upon myself. And though I atoned, I still deeply regret it. Posting it quickly because I'm under a time crunch. I, unfortunately, was the other guy in this situation. About 5 years ago, long before Snapchat, I fell in love with a coworker who was in a serious relationship, and I too was in a serious relationship. It started off innocently enough with flirting. Hanging out after work at bars with everyone else. Talking to each other about our relationship issues. We clicked. Eventually it turned physical after a work event. We had S-time whenever we were able to. It wasn't that often since we both lived with our partners and we knew what we were doing was wrong. So we would kind of just let it happen. Usually after drinks and the opportunity presented itself. We sometimes discussed the S-time and how much we cared and missed each other. Over texts. This was always prefaced by a warning to remember to delete the messages, of course. We knew how high the stakes were. We both knew what we were doing was wrong and that we didn't want to leave our significant others. Eventually we got sloppy and got caught. In the same exact way. Her boyfriend found text messages that she forgot to delete. A message she sent me during a work bar crawl that I couldn't make it to. One to which I never responded to. Usually I didn't respond to messages if I couldn't within the first few minutes. So in waiting for my response and her drunkenness, she forgot to wipe out her sent message. I wish you were here so I could duck you. He found her sent message when she got home and passed out. And of course we went out of our way to convince him that they were just jokes. Inside jokes. We even made up a different meaning for duck. Explaining that it was a game. He had gone out with us and a few other coworkers before and he saw how rowdy everyone could get. That's what we told him. It was the only explanation we could use. Yes, I emailed him and assured him that nothing was going on. To save my ass and hers. I never got a response from him and we immediately stopped contact, so that managed to scare us straight, of course. We cooled it off straight away. And even though we did, eventually he couldn't take it anymore and his suspicions got the best of him. He let my significant other know and that was the end of things. The other girl came clean to him after they broke up and my ex-GF wouldn't even let me try to explain. For good reason. I'm no longer with my GF and she's no longer with her BF. Me and this girl never ended up dating. I've grown a lot from that situation. If the messages said they had S-time, then they had S-time. You're just choosing to believe what you want to believe now. The other man gave you trickle truth. Just enough and showed just the right amount of guilt for you to believe his story. To keep you at bay from telling his wife, if it sounds like a duck, walks like a duck, and looks like a duck, then it is a duck. Sorry, Redditor 3, they're both trickle truthing you, telling you as much as needed to explain what you already know, but no more than that. Your mistake was laying all your cards on the table and letting them know what you know, and give her time to get with him and get their story straight. I guarantee that they've had sex multiple times. She's not admitting to any of this because she knows that doing so would make her the bad guy. Redditor 4, listen dude, I can see you rationalizing your socks off so you don't have to admit your marriage is over. You seem really hung up on there being a physical component to this. It's not relevant. She cheated emotionally at least, but the truly relevant part is the lying. Your wife lied to you even when you caught her, even when you had her phone in your hand, screenshots on the table, the whole shebang. That's not something someone who loves or respects you would do. That's something someone who really likes the life you provide for her and really doesn't have a backup plan because her boss isn't going to leave his wife for her. There isn't room for forgiveness here. This isn't something that will go away if she moves jobs. This is her not being the person you thought she was, the person you fell in love with, the person you wanted to have your children. Emo, There is no coming back from this. It's over and the only question now is how long the zombie lurches before it falls. PPS, not that it matters, but I wouldn't be surprised if boss and wife sat down and decided on a game plan to get their story straight. His responses are carefully crafted to flatter you, admit just enough to defer suspicion, but ultimately disclaim any real blame. It doesn't matter because divorce should happen regardless. Redditor 5, dude, both of them fed you baloney and you gobbled it up. Inform his wife, cause he never will. Honestly man, you can save yourself years of pain and hardship, if you bail now and get a fresh start. You don't have any kids and no incentive to stay with a cheater tbh. Rest is for you to decide.